beef with Eminem. Ain't no rapper popping nothing about Eminem. Ain't nobody saying nothing. I'm not even gonna say nothing bad about Eminem.
You feel like it's the best black artist and stand him face to face in a room with him and
So when Will Smith stepped up and smacked Chris Rock at the 2022 Oscars, everybody froze, jaws dropped. But the real question behind closed doors was, would he have dared try that with Eminem? Thing is, way back in the early 2000s, Will almost did. And what followed is probably one of his biggest regrets ever. Eminem wasn't just some loudmouth white dude with a mic. He was Detroit raised, battle-tested, and had walked straight past Suge Knight without flinching. That ain't regular, that's survival-level energy. And this story, it runs deep, way deeper than that slap. Because before the world ever saw Will go off, before the Oscars mess, he was Hollywood's clean-cut rapper. Back in the late 90s, everybody loved him. But not everyone feared him. Bill Clinton was still running the country. MTV controlled the culture like a remote. And Will Smith, he was untouchable at the top. Dude had gone from goofy Fresh Prince to straight-up box office king. Men in Black, Independence Day, back-to-back bangers. But here's the wild part. He pulled it off without cussing, without beef, without a single scandal. No drama, no dirt, and still went multi-platinum. While other rappers fought for airtime, Will was out here snatching Grammys, squeaky clean, and still dominating. Will's solo debut, Big Willie Style, dropped in '97 and went nuclear. Over 10 million copies sold. Then Millennium hit in '99 and crushed charts again, landing him another Grammy by 2000. Will was living proof that rap ain't gotta be gritty, dirty, or wild to win big, and he knew it. So when he stepped on that Grammy stage in February 2000 and proudly said, "I've never used profanity in my records. Rap doesn't need to be filled with curses to succeed," the crowd clapped it up. But behind the scenes, in Detroit, somebody wasn't clapping. They were loading up bars. That same year, a 26-year-old Marshall Mathers, better known as Eminem, unleashed the Slim Shady LP, a wild, blood-soaked roller coaster of twisted bars, drugged-out chaos, and razor-sharp dark humor. This wasn't no Vanilla Ice knockoff. This was Slim Shady, a full-blown alter ego born from struggle, pain, and straight-up madness. Eminem was raw, reckless, vulgar, real. Everything Will Smith wasn't. So when M heard Will brag on stage about never cussing in his music, that wasn't just background noise. It hit like a sneak diss. To M, it felt personal, like a clean-cut Hollywood star throwing shade at artists who bled just to be heard, who didn't have sitcoms or summer blockbusters to fall back on. So when Eminem dropped the real Slim Shady in 2000, he let it fly. Right in the middle of that now iconic beat, he snapped, "Will Smith don't gotta cuss in his raps to sell records. Well, I do. So F him and F you too." No filter, no mercy, just straight up fire that shook the whole game. Radio had to bleep it, parents threw fits, but the kids, oh, they ate it up. Middle schoolers, high schoolers, they knew every word. They lived that bar. This wasn't just shade, it was M declaring war. War on the industry's fake clean image, the safe, smiley version of rap that Will Smith stood for. And the message couldn't have been louder. M wasn't here to play nice. But here's where it gets real deep. That shot at Will, it wasn't just about clean lyrics, it was about power, about respect, about who truly earned their spot at the top of hip-hop in the 2000s. While Will was catching flights to movie sets and red carpets, Eminem was out here dodging lawsuits, surviving addiction, taking death threats, and battling censors trying to shut him down. He wasn't trying to be loved, he was fighting to be heard. He didn't chase Grammys, he chased respect. And after that lyrical sneak attack, a darker question started echoing in the game. Was Will Smith scared of Eminem? But the real question, what if they ever crossed paths, face to face? In Hollywood's eyes, Eminem looked like a walking gimmick. Bleach blonde, loud, reckless, just another wild white boy yelling into a mic like some cartoon with anger issues. Will Smith and a lot of folks figured he'd flame out fast, just another shock value rapper chasing headlines. But behind the curtain, it was a whole different game. By 1999, back in Detroit, M's rise wasn't just about wild lyrics or radio buzz. It was powered by real street alliances, the kind that don't play when it comes to loyalty, money, or enemies. His right-hand man, Deshaun Proof Holton. And he wasn't just some day one homie. Proof was Detroit royalty, a battle rap beast deep in the East Side scene and the frontman of D12, a crew known for bars and real-life respect in the streets. Proof wasn't just hyping him up. He was his protection, his street compass, his stamp of approval. When M stepped into sketchy circles, Proof made sure he walked out without a scratch. In a city where being the wrong shade in the wrong block could end your whole run or your life, Proof made Eminem untouchable in Detroit. And trust, M's reach didn't stop there. In '98, Dr. Dre signed Eminem to Aftermath, and that one move flipped the industry on its head. Dre, still legendary from his NWA and Death Row days, had just found his next secret weapon. With Dre's beats, big-name ties, and label power behind him, M shot up from Detroit heat to a national problem. And Will Smith, he had no clue that behind Eminem's wild, clownish image was a man becoming one of the most connected and protected forces in the game. By 2000, M had already been in real street fights. That summer, he was arrested for pistol whipping a dude outside Hot Rock Sports Bar in Warren, Michigan, and still walked away with just probation. This wasn't no rap gimmick. M was moving through real smoke, inside the booth and out in the streets. Then, in early 2002, things leveled up fast. A mixtape monster out of Queens, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, got signed to a deadly joint venture between Eminem's Shady Records and Dre's Aftermath. At that point, 50 had already taken 9 bullets, got dropped by Columbia, and blackballed by the industry for being straight up too dangerous. But M didn't flinch. He brought him in anyway. With Dre's money and Interscope's machine behind them, the team was built, and the streets felt it coming. They built a machine. G-Unit, Shady, and Aftermath formed a triangle of power that could make or break careers with ruthless precision. So when Eminem barked on a track, it wasn't just one man. It was Dre, 50, Proof, D12, Jimmy Iovine, and a whole army behind him. Lawyers, hitters, execs, every bar came with backup. But M's real test of fearlessness, it didn't come from rap beef. It came from the shadows of Death Row. Suge Knight, the man behind Death Row Records, was no myth. He was a known enforcer, tied to the Bloods, and famous for real-life intimidation. In the early 2000s, Suge still cast a long shadow over West Coast rap, and folks stayed shook. And still, even with all that pressure, Eminem didn't blink. According to Compton's own The Game, when Suge Knight and his crew pulled up, the room shifted, lights dropped, energy changed. Suge walked in uninvited, flanked by muscle. Most people went quiet or dipped out. But M, he stood 10 toes down, fists ready if it went there. Game said M was fully down for the smoke, and 50, fresh out the trenches, was right there with him. That moment hit different. Suge had built his whole name on fear. But now, this white boy from Detroit wasn't just spitting violence. He lived like it. And fans still don't get M's bodyguards weren't just bodyguards. The guys around M, they weren't just hired muscle in suits walking red carpets. Nah, word from the street says otherwise. Eminem had real backing from Samoan crews out in LA, known for being tough, loyal, and never backing down. It wasn't no regular security detail. Some said he was breaking them off with serious cash, not to babysit, but to ride. Folks on the block called it his Samoan army. These were South Central warriors, deep-rooted since the 90s, feared and respected. Meanwhile, Will Smith, he was moving in a whole different lane, playing Hollywood while M was surviving in real-life combat zones. By 2001, Will Smith wasn't in the streets. He was on red carpets, hosting award shows, shaking hands with presidents, and smiling for cameras with diplomats. His name was spotless. His brand, all Hollywood polish. He wasn't built for beefs in alleyways or parking lot standoffs. His battles were handled by agents, PR teams, and billion-dollar studios. So when Eminem fired shots at him on wax, Will didn't clap back because staying quiet was the smarter play. By then, going toe-to-toe with M wasn't just a lyrical exchange, it was going to war with an entire machine. Dre's cold-blooded business moves, Proof's muscle, 50 Cent's empire rising by the hour. Eminem had an army behind every word, and Will Smith knew it. To regular folks, that Grammy speech seemed harmless, but inside the industry, it hit like a warning flare. Will Smith was the poster boy. Another clean-cut rapper preaching positivity in a genre the media loved to label violent. Headlines loved him. Parents cheered him on. But behind closed doors, the heat was rising. Eminem wasn't smiling. Insiders from Interscope and Aftermath would later say M took Will's comments personally, not as some vague message, but a direct shot. This wasn't just about profanity. It was about power. About the silent war between two sides of hip-hop, the polished camera-ready version, and the raw, unfiltered voice of the streets. To M, Will wasn't just talking for himself. He was the mouthpiece for the gatekeepers, the Hollywood suits, award show puppeteers, late-night clowns, the ones who never wanted someone like Eminem at their table. By mid-2000, Eminem was feeling the walls closing in. Behind the scenes, the censorship was real. FCC regulators were tearing apart his bars. Parental boards were slapping warnings on everything. His music videos chopped to pieces. Talk shows wouldn't book him unless he cleaned it all up. Lawsuits came flying from his mom, his ex, even strangers who didn't like what he rapped about. He felt trapped. So when Will Smith made that Grammy flex in early 2000, right when the Slim Shady LP was taking over, M didn't think it was random. It felt calculated. Like the industry handpicked Will, clean, smiling, Hollywood's golden boy, to be their polite hitman, their friendly little assassin in a tux. And M fired back the only way he ever did, through the mic. In May 2000, just 3 months after Will's Grammy speech, he dropped The Real Slim Shady and didn't hold nothing back. Dre on the beat, M on Demon Time. No subliminals, no sugarcoating, just, well, Smith don't gotta cuss in his raps to sell records. Well, I do, so if him and F you too. That line shook everything, from radio DJs to high school hallways. It was raw, reckless, and catchy as hell. Controversy? Yeah, but that's what made M unstoppable. He said what everyone else was scared to. By June, The Real Slim Shady had blown up. #1 in the UK, top of US charts. A diss turned into a global anthem. Real Slim Shady hit #5 on the Billboard Hot 100. MTV had the video on full blast. Eminem wasn't just popping, he was global. And his target couldn't have been more obvious. Meanwhile, Will Smith's Millennium, which dropped just 6 months earlier in November '99, was already sliding off the charts. Even with decent numbers and the single Will 2K, it couldn't touch the wave Eminem was riding. Then came the whispers. Insiders claimed that right after M's diss blew up, a closed-door meeting went down, either at Sony Music or Columbia Pictures. And Will reportedly got the message. Stand down. No clapbacks. No diss tracks. No interviews. Silence. One rumor points the finger straight at Dr. Dre. Word is, Dre, who had solid ties in Hollywood and had even worked with some of Will Smith's old collaborators, gave Will a personal warning: let it go. Some say it was said politely. Others say it came with a little more heat. Whether that convo really happened or not, the result was clear. Will never spoke on Eminem again. No bars, no interviews, not even a slick comment. He pivoted hard into film. By 2001, he was Alley, then Men in Black 2 in 2002, Bad Boys 2 in 2003. His rap career quietly shelved. Meanwhile, M dropped the Marshall Mathers LP in May 2000, and that thing exploded. The Marshall Mathers LP moved 1.76 million copies in its first week, a record untouched for over a decade. But behind the velvet ropes, tension was thick. BET Awards, MTV Movie Awards, Grammy pre-parties. Both M and Will showed up, but never spoke. No handshakes, no head nods, not even eye contact. M always rolled in deep. Proof, 50 Cent, full squad. Will pulled up with family and publicists, always kept it tight. Hollywood insiders claimed organizers had to stagger their arrivals, place them in separate sections, just in case something got said that couldn't be unsaid. Because even though Will was still the crowd-friendly A-lister, Eminem was no longer just a loudmouth outsider. The power had shifted, and everyone felt it. By 2002, Eminem wasn't just a rapper, he was stepping into Hollywood's inner circle. 8 Mile was in the works. Major studios wanted him. He had Dre, Iovine, and a now blazing 50 Cent in his corner. M wasn't just surviving the industry anymore. He was rebuilding it in his image. And Will, as polished and media-trained as he was, he knew better than to start a fight he couldn't finish. So the silence stayed, ice cold, for years. Fans thought the moment passed, that it was over, but nah, the tension just slid beneath the surface. Because in Hollywood, real beef doesn't always end with diss tracks.
Eminem was getting extorted by some Crips.
Meaning that they're saying you can't come out here unless you pay us, or...
Yeah, maybe like he was paying them money and just like...
Oh, wow!
Sometimes it just waits in the dark. Sometimes beef don't end. It just waits for the right moment to strike again. By the early 2000s, Eminem wasn't just that wild white boy spitting crazy punchlines. He was moving like a general, calculated, surrounded, and always covered. To fans, he was still the rebel entertainer, but folks in the streets and inside the industry, they started to see the real setup. Eminem wasn't just talking tough, he was built for smoke. In 2003, word spread fast. Certain Crip-affiliated sets in South Central LA wanted M to check in before touching down for shows or shoots. And in the street code, that ain't a courtesy, that's a demand for respect. Most rappers dodge it or send middlemen, but Eminem wasn't just riding off Dre's clout, he was building his own power base back in Detroit. His right-hand Proof, frontman of D12, handled it all. From shutting down threats to blocking snakes at MCI, Proof wasn't just spitting verses. He had pull in the streets. If something popped in the 313, Proof was the firewall. And in New York, M had locked in with 50 Cent, already street validated before Get Rich or Die Trying even dropped in 2003. With him came G-Unit, a squad from Southside Queens with real scars from real gunplay. Together, they formed a coast-to-coast alliance under Shady Aftermath. Insiders say Eminem even bankrolled parts of 50's early grind, from promo to protection. Ain't nothing on paper, but in a 2003 Hot 97 interview, 50 Cent said it straight. Eminem believed in me when nobody else did. He didn't just rap with me, he protected me. After that, M stopped moving alone. Whether it was an award show in LA, a party in Miami, or a press run in Chicago, every appearance came stacked with layers of protection, private security, street-connected hitters, and industry eyes. He'd seen what happened to Pac, saw what fame without structure could cost. So by 2004, M turned Shady Records into a fortress. At one LA show, a known West Coast set reportedly hit the backstage, maybe to check him. But they didn't stay long. They walked out silent, met by Dre's Samoan crew, and Detroit muscle flown in just for that night. Eminem was never an easy mark. He built real alliances in Detroit, New York, and LA, the holy trinity of hip-hop's most dangerous corners. And he didn't move like a rapper chasing clout. He moved like a man ready for war, not just rap beef, real-life pressure. His bars in tracks like White America, Till I Collapse, and Like Toy Soldiers weren't just clever metaphors. They were codes, pain, betrayal, surveillance, the cost of leading when everyone's gunning for you. That paranoia, it wasn't for show. It kept him breathing. Will Smith had studios and agents. Eminem had survivor's instincts. By 2005, folks still argued, is M just a mad genius or something darker? But anyone who crossed him, rappers, labels, even gang names, already knew the truth. Eminem wasn't just rapping about showing up. He pulled up deep, with backup no one saw coming. So why did Will Smith even speak on him in the first place? Some say it was ego. Others say Hollywood pushed him. clean up hip-hop, protect the brand, but here's where it all blew up. M made Will look washed, like his whole clean rap image was soft, out of touch, and worse, scared. That Hollywood smile? M cracked it wide open. At the Grammys, M rocked a free Yayo shirt. That wasn't for pop fans. That was coded street language. And online, the internet lit up. Will Smith ain't built for this kind of war. And honestly, they weren't lying. After the Chris Rock slap went viral, memes flew. Would Will Smith have slapped Eminem like that? Yeah, highly unlikely. Even with M older now, the stories from the 2000s still haunt the game. He was unhinged, dangerous, unpredictable. Some insiders even claim Eminem once chased down a Detroit DJ with a weapon just for refusing to spin his record. No arrests, no footage, but the legend never died. Eminem wasn't acting tough. He was the threat. After that beef, Will's rap career never bounced back. His next albums barely moved the needle. Meanwhile, M dropped The Eminem Show, a cultural earthquake. Some fans even believe Dre doubled down behind M, pushing him harder right after the Will Smith moment. Nothing was ever confirmed, but everything points to one truth. M took Will's comment personal and clapped back so hard it ended the convo forever. Insiders say Will later admitted to friends he underestimated M, and when that Oscar night slap hit Chris Rock, some folks whispered that wasn't just about Jada, it was 20 years of bottled up rage aimed at the wrong man. Today, Eminem's a Hall of Famer, Will's got the Oscar, but his name still trends for all the wrong reasons. And it all traces back to one choice, taking a shot in '99 at the wrong white boy. Eminem never had to say it twice. That one line in The Real Slim Shady, it told the world everything. Will never responded. 'Cause deep down, he knew. Eminem wasn't just the better rapper. He was the type of man you didn't want problems with in real life. Some beefs drag out for months. Others, they live on in silence for decades. This one, it ended before it even began. Because with Eminem, sometimes one line is all it takes. And for Will Smith, that line, still echoing like a warning shot. If you rocked with this breakdown, hit that like button, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more heat.